Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to Communication Studies with Miss Mang. I'm here with you today to teach you about impromptu speaking. Now I know what you're thinking, impromptu. Oh my gosh, is that the one where I only have a little bit of time and then I write a speech? Yes, it is, but I don't want you to freak out because here's the thing. Once you have the structure and once I have explained everything to you, you are going to feel fully confident in your ability to speak in the impromptu style. So let's jump right into it. So first off, what is impromptu speaking? Now, impromptu falls into the category of speaking that is limited preparation. So limited preparation just means that when you're giving an impromptu speech, you are going to have a very short amount of time between when you are told what you are going to speak about and then the period where you will actually be delivering your speech. In most cases, you'll be able to use some sort of notes that you created within that time frame that you had to prepare your speech, but you won't have notes that you prepared ahead of time. Most of the time when you are doing impromptu, someone else gives you a random topic, and then you take a little bit of time, formulate your thoughts, and then you deliver a speech following that. You may think, this sounds so crazy, like this has never happened to me, I've never experienced this, but I'm telling you, you have. And here are some examples of that. First off, interviews. In an interview, you are essentially giving a speech. It's a formulated response to a question that you do not have those questions ahead of time. So if you've ever been interviewed before, then you've essentially done impromptu speaking. If you've ever given a presentation and then someone has asked you questions and you've had to follow up on what you were saying during that presentation, that counts as an impromptu speech. After a significant game or a significant experience, if you have ever been the recipient of an award and then you had to give a speech directly following, that's an impromptu speech. Or if you've ever been at a birthday or it's been your birthday and then everyone's like, speech, and then you give a short speech, that counts as impromptu too. So chances are high you've actually probably given some sort of an impromptu speech, maybe just not called it impromptu or not really done it to the full extent that we're gonna do it in this class. So many ceremonial speeches actually end up being impromptu. Oftentimes things happen at special events and the person who is going to speak fell through and then someone asks you to speak and that is an impromptu experience. Like if you've ever been in a wedding or at a wedding and maybe a bridesmaid is too drunk and they can't give the speech and then you have to give it in replace, that would be impromptu. Okay, so now that you understand the basic idea of what impromptu is a limited preparation speech in which someone gives you a topic, you have time to prepare, and then you deliver the speech. Let me teach you the nitty-gritty of how we're actually going to do an impromptu speech. So the first step is that you will receive a topic. Now this topic could be literally anything. Someone could say, hey, I want you to give a speech on koala bears. This could be not just an item, but it could be a question, it could be a theme, it could be something abstract. So it could be a concept or idea, it could be an object, it could be a person, it could be a theory, it could be a speech about something serious like the pandemic. It could be a speech about yourself, but someone else has to provide you that topic. So that's step one. Step one, you will receive your topic. So the second step is interpretation. So once you've received your topic, you're going to decide what your topic means. This step is one of the most important steps in impromptu speaking because once you interpret your topic to mean something specific, that will be what you build the rest of your speech around. So let's say I was given the topic traffic. There are two pathways that I could really go when I am interpreting my topic. I could go literal and I could also go abstract. So let's do both of those together. So if I was given the topic traffic and I wanted to interpret it in a literal way, then I might say, the topic I was given is traffic, and I interpret it to mean when you are in a car, sitting on the 405, waiting for hours to get from one place to the next, and the street or freeway is like a parking lot. That could be one interpretation. The other interpretation, which is more abstract, could be, I'm going to interpret traffic to mean sometimes we get held up in our lives and things get hard, but we just have to wait it out and eventually we'll get through it. Does that make sense? The difference between concrete and literal and abstract interpretation? So once you've received your topic, step 1, you will interpret your topic, step 2. Step 3 is brainstorming. So this is where you decide, what are you actually going to say in your speech? What is the meat of your speech going to be about? What are your main points going to be? And do you have examples? The best advice that I can possibly give is for you to come up with examples that further explain what you just interpreted the topic to mean. So let's say that we talked about the abstract version of traffic. So we said traffic means that sometimes life gets really hard and you have to stop and just wait, but eventually you're going to get through it. So then you would think of examples. So maybe it's an example from a book, or example from a movie, or an example of a real life person. You're gonna try and come up with an example that goes along with what you were just talking about. This could be an example from anywhere. And what you'll do is you will decide if you're gonna use 1 example, 2 examples, 3 examples, and you will write those down on the note card or wherever you're taking notes, because you will, during that time in your speech, you will expand upon this idea that you've written down. So let's say that we chose to use the example of the Wizard of Oz. So Dorothy ends up in this mysterious land and she's just trying to get back home to her family. But she has to go through this whole experience and go follow a yellow brick road and meet friends and go through this quest in order to achieve her goal, which is just to survive and get back to her home. So I would say, okay, so my first example is the Wizard of Oz. And I would talk about the Wizard of Oz a little bit. And then I would say, and this ties back into my interpretation, because just like Dorothy, we all have to experience things that are difficult, and sometimes we just have to wait and try and push through, and we'll eventually get to the end of whatever is our struggle. If you were talking about a literal definition of traffic in general, you were saying traffic is when people are on the road and they're in gridlock and they can't get out. So you might say, my first example is from the beginning of La La Land, and everyone was stuck in LA traffic, and so they decided to make the best of it. They got out of their cars and they did an entire singing and dancing number just in the middle of traffic. Talk about making a bad situation better. Or you could say, I was in traffic the other day, and talk about something that you experienced in traffic. So that's how you create an example. And I don't want you to feel limited by like, oh, what examples do I know? Because honestly, you know so many examples. You just have to think of things that will help you to support your main argument that you're going to talk about traffic. And that's essentially it. Step 1, you get your topic. Step 2, you're going to interpret your topic. And step 3, you're going to brainstorm and come up with what you're going to say. And then you're just going to put it all together. So now let me show you the impromptu structure. Now the impromptu structure is what you should keep in your memory, because you will just follow this while you are giving an impromptu speech. So the first thing that you're going to do is you are going to give a hook. A hook is just like any other speech. It's that attention-grabbing device that you're using in the very beginning to get your audience really interested in what you're going to say. This should somehow tie into the topic that you are given. The next thing that you are going to do is you are going to introduce your topic. The easiest way to do this is to say, the topic I was given was blah, blah, blah. So my topic today is traffic, or the topic I was given is traffic. Anything of that sort will do. Next, you are going to define the topic. So interpretation, this is where it goes. And you can say, I interpret this to mean blah, 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 blah. So you just fill in the blank there. Now that you've done that, you are going to provide at least one example. I would highly recommend that you come up with at least 2, maybe 3 examples, because when you get up to speak, you're going to speak faster than you think you're going to speak, and your time will creep by. So the less that you have to come up with on the spot, the more you have prepared during that short time, the better off you're going to be when you stand up to present your speech. And the final thing that you need to do is to tie back to the hook. So remember, we're always trying to create bows and cute little packages with our public speeches. So you want to make sure that whatever you started off with in the attention grabber, you are going to finish off with in the concluding statement. So your concluding statement needs to have some sort of connection to your hook statement. And that's it. That's impromptu. I would recommend you begin practicing. So find a random topic, so whether it's a random object in the room, or ask your friend or your family member or your roommate to give you a random thing, and then you will prepare for a minute and then deliver your speech. All right, I hope you have a better understanding of what impromptu is. I hope that you're not scared of impromptu. I guarantee you there's nothing to worry about. You're going to do fabulous. I have the ultimate confidence in you. And tune in next time to learn more communication studies with me, Miss Mang.